Today's tip of the week is, what type of lease should you be using as a landlord?
Yeah, so this came about because, as you guys know, Tim and myself, Calgary Real Estate Wealth is now offering crew property leasing, which is going out there and leasing properties. And what we found, Tim, lately is we have landlords coming to us with problems, and they have leases that they've downloaded from the internet. And these types of leases, we've seen them just thrown out in a court. They don't hold up at all. So we wanted to get this out there that if you are a landlord, you have to look at, first of all, Tim, where the lease came from, what's in the lease. A lot of leases, Tim, are American based. They won't even hold up in a court here in Canada. And you have to understand that. I know for Tim and myself, when we're leasing, I mean, we're licensed commercial, residential. So we are able to use the Calgary Real Estate Board leases. And that's a mandate of ours when we do sign a lease these days, that it's going on that lease. Just because, Tim, it's been looked over by lawyers, it's been looked over by governing bodies, and we know it will hold up in court. Tim, what has been going on out there?
Another thing, if you do insist on downloading your lease from the internet, make sure you have your lawyer go over it. Now, that may take a couple hours of his time. He may have to be striking things out, putting in new clauses. That might cost you $300-400. So if you want to do it that way, that's fine. Other than that, find something that is region specific. If you're in Alberta, get something that adheres to the Alberta Residential Tenancies Act. Same thing, if you're in BC, make sure it adheres to BC's Landlord and Tenant Act. You have to make sure that it's region specific and it deals specifically with what you have to do. Because if you have to evict somebody or you run into problems, you want to make sure that the lease is dealing with every specific thing that applies under law.
Yeah, and we found this just today. We have a client that reached out to us, has been following us like you guys are on our seminars for the past few years, and asked us to take over the property leasing services for 2 of his properties. And one tenant, we had to go in there and basically do a walkthrough, and it was in a rough shape. When we say a rough shape, it was bad, like food left out in the bedrooms and on the floor, in the kitchen, stuff everywhere. I believe multiple people were living in this property. And then when we showed our, what would you say, Tim, service to get people out, eviction team that we have, they kind of looked at the lease straight away and said, well, this isn't going to hold up at all. So you have to get that right before anything else.
Yeah, and make sure you put everything that you need to inside of the lease, because in issues like cleanliness or timeliness of paying rent, you got to remember your tenant standards are not going to be your standards. Your level of cleanliness might be very, very clean. The tenant might think the place is clean, but it could be a pigsty. So you got to make sure everything is spelled out, how the condition of the dwelling is going to be in the lease, the timeliness of the rent, and what's going to happen if they don't pay rent.
Yeah, so you need to understand that you can't just kick people out because they're dirty, because the judge is going to say that, yeah, exactly what Tim just said. Their level of cleanliness is different than yours. And that's just the way it is. And there's multiple other things, Tim, that we could talk about, but that is our tip of the week. We want you guys out there to look at your leases, make sure you have the right leases and that you're protected. That is key. And if you don't, we're offering the service. We do use the Calgary Real Estate Board leases, so we know everyone involved is protected. And we're happy to share that with you. You just reach out to us. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because you can get these friendly tips of the week, real estate tips of the week, that are here to really save you, not only money, Tim, but save you the headaches down the road. So that is our tip of the week. And if you haven't seen any other tips of ours, look through our channel. They are awesome.